Hi everyone, and welcome to week 7. In week 7, you're going to be doing, let me set up this real quick. In week 7, you're going to be reading chapters 13 and 14. So I want to do this right here with you. Read chapters 13 and 14, and you have the discussion board. For this week, we're going to be looking at the role of exchange rates. And exchange rates are very important in our economy because it creates a lot of challenges for firms in terms of their investing. And you'll notice that I have the PowerPoint slides right here. I have a couple very interesting videos, and I think you'll find this one the most interesting, about Trump and the role of exchange rates and how Donald Trump is influenced by the exchange rates of other countries. And I think it creates a lot of challenges. You'll also notice I have a couple different websites, and I have a couple different Word documents that you can review, and I think you'll find them very helpful with your development with this week's concepts. And then we have the discussion board. And let me show you the discussion board. With the discussion board, make sure to focus on have that first post by Thursday, having an APA formatted in-text citation and reference, 20 points for content and development, 10 points for use of economic terms, and 2 peer responses. And in your peer responses, you can either respond to my questions or any of your peers as well. But for this week, we're going to be looking at the role of interest rates. And when we look at exchange rates, we want to invest in the country with the higher exchange rate because we're going to get more money for our return. So we want to figure out where will capital inflow and outflow occur in these both countries when we have level of interest rates. Now, when money flows or capital flows into one country, you'll notice that that's going to cause an appreciating currency compared to when money goes away from a country that will cause a depreciating currency. How will this affect GDP and net exports? What I'd like you to do is use subheaders in your work to clearly define what we're looking at. I think it'll make it much easier for your analysis as well. But for this week, we're looking at chapter 13 and 14. And some of the things we're looking at this week is looking at national income accounting. And we look at national income accounting, we're looking at what we produce and what we spend money on. And that's two important things that we're going to define in our economy. And national income accounting is looking at GNP. And GNP is focused on what our citizens are actually producing. And when we focus on what our citizens are actually producing, you'll notice that they can be anywhere in the world. But GNP is going to measure that value. Whereas GDP is only going to be looking at what our country produces. So this section is going to be looking at GDP. And if you look at GDP, the equation is going to be consumers, businesses, government, and net exports. And in the U.S., you'll notice that we have a trade deficit. And we're going to have a negative amount right here. So those are some of the concepts that we're going to be dealing with in Chapter 13. Whereas Chapter 14, we're going to be looking at the role of exchange rates. And when we look at exchange rates, you'll notice that we're going to have to define what exchange rates mean. And we have two different changes in exchange rate fluctuations. We have a depreciating currency, is when one currency decreases in value compared to another currency. And we have a concept called an appreciating currency, where one currency gains value compared to another currency. We look at an appreciating currency. Think of the U.S. Let's say that someone's going to be going to Mexico, and $1 used to buy 12.50 pesos. The next year, this company or this individual goes to Mexico, and their same dollar buys them 16.75 pesos. As you notice from that example, their dollar buys more pesos. So the U.S. currency has appreciated where the Mexican currency has depreciated. So in this section, Chapter 14, we're going to evaluate the differences or the exchanges in terms of why currencies fluctuate and the reasoning behind it. But those are some of the concepts that we're going to be developing. As I look forward to your effort this week, and make sure to get your work submitted on time, as no late work's accepted.